Born in Perthshire, Scotland, Alexander Mackenzie emigrated to the province of Canada in 1842. A stonemason, he soon found work in the rapidly growing provinces of Canada East and Canada West. One of his first jobs was to build a bomb-proof stone arch at Fort Henry in Kingston. His next task was working on the Beauharnois Canal near Montreal. Many of the monuments raised by Mackenzie still stand in Ontario. The Welland Canal, the Martello Towers in Kingston, the Episcopal Church, a bank in Sarnia, courthouses and jails in Chatham and Sandwich. In Scotland, Mackenzie had been drawn to the Chartist Movement, a political group advocating democratic reform. He was naturally drawn to the Reform Party, the forerunner of the Liberal Party here in Canada. Moving to Sarnia in 1847, he continued his occupation of stonemason and contractor. Active in local affairs, he was a major with the 27th Lambton Volunteer Infantry. To champion his reform principles in his home riding, George Brown moved a printing press to Port Sarnia and started a weekly newspaper, the Lambton Shield. Persuading Alexander Mackenzie in 1852, now 30 years of age, to volunteer to do the editing and, most importantly, to pen the editorials for the Lambton Shield. Alexander Mackenzie was by now known as one who could wield a trenchant pen, who could talk well in political philosophy, who had a strong sense of duty to his fellow man, and who had a real capacity for work. He became secretary of the Port Sarnia Reform Committee and helped the fiery George Brown to win the local race and earn the right to represent Lambton at the Parliament of the Canadas in Quebec City. Alexander Mackenzie began to wage journalistic warfare against Malcolm Cameron, who had by now brought his own newspaper into town. The Lanark Observer, renamed the Lambton Observer, forerunner of today's paper, came to Port Sarnia. The rancorous war of words took on the tone of vituperation found in the Dickens novel Pickwick Papers. Without naming anyone, Mackenzie wrote in the Lambton Shield that a former member for Kent had perpetrated a particularly nefarious bit of land jobbery. Cameron brought suit for libel. In court in April 1854, the judge found in favor of Cameron and ordered a fine of £20 and costs of about £150. The Lambton Shield folded, but Mackenzie made good on the court costs. In 1854, Brown defeated Cameron in a contest for the new Lambton seat. In 1857, Brown relinquished his seat to become a candidate in Toronto. On short notice, Hope Cameron Mackenzie, Alexander's older brother, ran against Malcolm Cameron in a by-election and was elected for the Lambton riding. George Brown was convinced that a great life in politics awaited Hope Mackenzie, but Hope thought otherwise. He held the seat only until the next general election in 1861, when his brother Alexander would begin a political career that would lead him to becoming Prime Minister of Canada from 1873 to 1878.